Today, we'll be talking about sexual trauma. Sexual abuse is very common, and it's very common to come from someone we know, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, and we are often threatened afterwards not to tell anyone. It can leave us feeling deep shame, disgust, anxiety, great anger, depression, emotionally shut down, emotional numbness, hypervigilant. It can cause us to dissociate. We need to feel safe again, to be able to come back into our bodies and to feel whole, to feel empowered. And this is what healing can do for us. Today I have with me Dr. Nick, who is a psychologist and trained in somatic experiencing. He specializes in sexual trauma. Thank you so much, Dr. Nick, for joining us.
Hi, thank you. So, my name is Dr. Nick Monzon. When thinking about trauma, trauma is, in essence, something that is a felt experience more than a mental, psychological experience. What I mean by that is that trauma lives in the body first. Our body has a natural, automatic reaction to certain experiences when we think about, say, fight, flight, and freeze. Because of that, our body responds to experiences to environmental stimuli first before our brain has time to catch up and say, "Oh, what is going on here?" When I think about trauma, I think about perhaps walking through the woods late at night and suddenly I see a bear. I'm not going to stop and think, "Oh, that bear might be hungry." No, my body is going to be running. My body is going to be fighting for survival. And that traumatic experience is then going to be embedded in my body and live there. And this is what I mean when I say that trauma lives in the body first before we cognitively think about it. I did my internship at the Wright Institute Los Angeles, a very wonderful nonprofit. And when I was there, my mentor and supervisor at the time sat me down and said, "Hey, if you want to treat trauma, like really seriously treat trauma, this is the training that you're going to have to use." He he was a trainer for the SE workshops as well, and really opened me up to this possibility and this idea that trauma is a body felt experience first. When I was in school, when I was doing my education, it was all talk therapy. It was all discussing, how we can talk our way out of certain experiences. But when I meet with clients and when I've met with clients in the past, talking sometimes doesn't work.
And when a client comes in with a sexual trauma, with somatic experiencing, how do you help them feel safe? I know with embodied processing, what we need to do is first build a rapport with the client, starting them into resourcing
Yeah.
so that they have a sense of safety and build capacity.
Yeah.
Very slowly, very gradually, letting them set their own pace,
Yeah.
almost like turning on a bit of a tap, just letting them feel a little bit of emotions at a time,
Mhm.
very gradually, and doing it very safely and allowing their body to be able to feel safe.
Yes.
Because there are some methods out there for trauma that it just gets people to go dive right in. And that can actually cause a lot more damage than it can good. What do you do?
So I love that you mentioned that as well. For my doctoral dissertation, I looked at PTSD among crime scene and in crime scene investigators and found that the ones that were forced to talk about their trauma actually developed more PTSD symptoms. So when I have a client that comes into my office or into my Zoom room for the first time, I'm very upfront, especially because I know that I am male and a lot of my clients are female. And unfortunately, the statistics show that females are more likely to be sexually assaulted by a male. So with this experience, I need to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that this client comes in and feels safe with me, because they might have had an experience with a male that was deeply unsafe. So I tell clients when they first walk in, I say, I don't want you to tell me about the worst thing that happened to you. Not right now, because we just met. I need to earn your trust, and we'll do that very slowly. I tell them we will go at a pace that is the most comfortable for you, the slowest possible pace that is comfortable for you. And my first couple sessions with clients, especially new clients with this experience, I focus so much on rapport building. Because if they don't feel safe with me, if they don't feel comfortable with me, then there's no healing that can happen. It's going to be very, very detrimental to them if they don't feel safe with me. So we start by inviting them to orient. Orienting is looking around the space, looking around their environment. And I often work on Zoom, and I do this for a very specific reason with my sexual trauma survivors, is because their space typically is safe. Their environment is safe. Their room is safe. If they're in an environment that they were assaulted in, then I will see them in a different space. But for the most part, they're in their room, they're in a space that's comfortable for them, they can control it. And I'll invite them to look around the room in a very slow manner, because when we are in danger, when we are in a traumatic experience, our eyes dart very quickly in a scanning motion to look for danger. Instead, what I have clients do, and this is a foundational part of SE, is to look around the room out of curiosity. Instead of scanning for danger, can we scan for something that makes you happy? And I'll invite that into the, the questioning. I'll say, can you look around your room and just notice when something comes across your eyes that makes you smile? And I'm looking around my room right now, and where I'm a very big Disney fan, being here in SoCal, if you can't see the little Mickey
Oh, I
behind me,
see.
but there's some Mickey stuff that my wife put up, and for me, it brings a immediate sense of relaxation, an immediate sense of kind of slowing down and joy, and that's exactly what I'm looking for with clients. Let's find something in your environment that helps you slow down, that helps you relax, that brings a sense of joy. One of the most terrible things about traumatic experiences is that oftentimes it takes away our experience of joy. We focus so closely and so heavily on the negative experiences, the anxiety, the stress, the nightmares, but something that we don't focus on as often is the lack of joy. When we are in a fight, flight, hyper aroused experience, or maybe even hypo aroused, right, going down, being frozen, being more numb, there's very little joy that can come in. So, first way to establish safety within the room is to notice what brings us relaxation, what brings us joy, what brings us happiness. And I will specifically ask the client, how do you know that your body is feeling relaxed? This is not a question that we often get asked. And oftentimes the client goes, oh, well, I'm not feeling my heart as much. Great, great. Let's start there.
I do.
What
I had
is,
the same question actually in sessions. That's funny.
yeah. It's like, what is not being able to feel your heart race feel like? I think when we start working, especially with survivors of sexual trauma, noticing that the body can feel safe again is one of the purest forms of healing. And it's something that I strive to provide for clients, especially within the first 3, 4, 5 sessions, is to really help them know that in this space with me, they are not in danger.
And even after sessions for homework would be to find glimmers,
Yeah, exactly.
small moments that can make us feel safe and some sense of peace or joy in our body.
Mhm.
So it could be a beautiful sunset, a warm cup of tea. It could be a close friend, whatever that sense of comfort, that sense of safety, and embracing it. And if there's activities, for example, meditation that gives you a sense of safety. It could be even a comedy show.
Yeah.
I know when I was pregnant and I was really struggling, comedy shows. That was it for me.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just little glimmers, just little moments that going in my hot tub, again, a little glimmer. What are your glimmers?
Oh. So I have four cats with my wife, and they all have these little different personalities, and I think for me, just being able to interact with them. My one of my cats will oftentimes come up here to my this is where I see clients. He'll come up and he'll just lay on me, especially if he kind of just misses me. That's something that always brings me so much joy, and it's such a reminder too of being more mindful. A key foundation of SE is mindfulness, right? Being in the moment and being able to notice where glimmers are in our world, but also to sit with them.